If you study wars long enough, you realize that battles were often decided long before the first shot was fired. Water determined whether armies marched, camped, or collapsed. During the American Civil War, contaminated water killed more soldiers than bullets. Dysentery, typhoid, and cholera followed polluted streams and shallow wells. Today, we're going straight into the practical methods soldiers, civilians, and field surgeons used to make unsafe water drinkable when nothing modern existed. If this kind of grounded historical survival knowledge matters to you, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and leave a comment to keep these deep dives coming. Now, let's get into it. Settling and clarifying muddy water was the first line of defense in the field. Civil War soldiers rarely found clear water. Streams near camps were churned into mud by boots, wagons, and livestock. The first step was simple settling. Water was collected in canteens, kettles or barrels, and left undisturbed for hours so heavy sediment could sink. Officers' manuals advised drawing water from the surface after settling, never from the bottom. In practice, soldiers would tilt the container slowly and pour off only the clearer upper layer. This removed grit, insects, and organic debris that carried bacteria. Today, the same technique applies if you draw water from a silty river or floodplain. Let gravity do the work before you attempt any further purification. Cloth filtration removed visible contaminants before boiling. Soldiers commonly filtered water through folded cloth, often using a handkerchief, shirt sleeve, or wool sock. Wool was preferred because its fibers trapped debris more effectively than cotton. This did not make water safe by itself, but it removed larvae, plant matter, and suspended solids that interfered with later treatment. Field surgeons recommended multiple passes through cloth if the water was visibly foul. For modern use, this remains a valid pre-treatment step. Any tightly woven fabric can function as a field filter before heat or chemical purification. Boiling was the most reliable purification method available. By the mid-19th century, military doctors understood that boiling reduced illness, even if germ theory was not fully accepted. Orders were frequently issued to boil all drinking water, especially during summer campaigns. Water was brought to a rolling boil for several minutes, using campfires, tin cups, or iron kettles. This killed pathogens responsible for cholera and typhoid, which devastated camps along rivers like the Mississippi and the Potomac. In practical application today, boiling remains the gold standard. If fuel is limited, bringing water to a sustained boil is sufficient. Let it cool naturally and store it covered to prevent recontamination. Charcoal filtration, really improved the taste of water and helped remove chemical impurities. Charcoal was widely used in Civil War camps, not just for cooking, but also for water treatment. Soldiers would crush hardwood charcoal and layer it between cloth in makeshift filters. Now, while they didn't fully understand the science of adsorption, they noticed that charcoal could remove foul odours and, improve the taste. Medical texts from the era even recommended charcoal-treated water for hospitals and recovery wards. Interestingly, for modern use, this technique still works. Charcoal from untreated hardwood fires can be crushed and used as a filtration medium to reduce toxins, especially when you're dealing with stagnant or swampy water sources. Sand and gravel filters in a sense, mimicked the early municipal water systems. In more organized camps, soldiers sometimes constructed rudimentary filtration pits. They'd place layers of gravel, sand and charcoal in barrels or even dug trenches. Water poured through these layers would emerge visibly clearer. While it wasn't exactly sterile, it was, significantly safer than drinking raw surface water. This system was actually borrowed from European military engineering manuals and, represents one of the earliest field filtration designs. Even today, this exact approach is used in survival filters around the world. With just some basic materials, you can replicate a functional gravity filter using the very same principles that Civil War engineers relied on. Alcohol was used sparingly but intentionally as a water supplement. Whiskey rations were issued partly because alcohol was believed to counteract waterborne illness. While this belief was flawed, alcohol mixed with water did reduce consumption of raw sources and sometimes masked poor taste. Importantly, alcohol was never relied on as a purifier alone. Officers discouraged its use during marches due to dehydration. The takeaway here is restraint. Alcohol does not purify water, but historically it was used to reduce reliance on suspect sources when nothing else was available. Vinegar and acids were used to inhibit spoilage, not sterilize. Vinegar was sometimes added to water barrels to slow bacterial growth during transport. This did not make contaminated water safe, but helped preserve already boiled or filtered supplies. Soldiers carrying water over long distances used this method to prevent rapid spoilage. In modern terms, acidifying treated water can help preserve it longer, but it should never replace proper purification. Source selection mattered more than treatment. Civil War manuals emphasized drawing water upstream from camps, away from latrines, livestock and burial sites. Springs were preferred, followed by flowing streams, with stagnant ponds considered dangerous even after treatment. Officers were instructed to post guards to protect water sources from contamination. Today, this principle still applies. The cleaner the source, the less treatment required, and the lower the risk of failure. Civil War water purification was not primitive guesswork. It was systematic, field-tested, and often effective when followed correctly. These techniques saved lives long before modern filters or tablets existed, and they remain relevant in any survival scenario where technology fails. If you found value in this breakdown, subscribe to Battlefield of Survival, like the video, and share it with someone who studies history seriously. Leave a comment with the next topic you want covered. Knowledge kept alive is knowledge that still works.